So you want a cool watch on your wrist, but you don't want to be boring and go with the obvious watches. Well, don't worry, I have you covered. Today I'll be going through 10 hidden gem watches that are effortlessly cool, including a super affordable carbon watch, a GMT that was designed for the military, and even an under the radar Omega Speedmaster model. All of that and much more, let's get started. Let's kick off today's video with a watch that is dripping in military history that was designed for Air Force pilots. A military watch that massively flies under the radar is the Glycine Airman. This is a watch that was originally designed for the military Air Force, and at release, it was available at exchange stores at military bases. Its revolutionary design allowed the wearer to track both the current time zone and the local time all on one dial. This was originally done by the watch having a 24-hour dial, meaning that noon was actually at the 6 o'clock, and a 24-hour rotating bezel allowed for the second time zone functionality. Now, modern Glycine Airmans come in a variety of configurations. My recommendation would be the new 12-hour quartz versions that feature a GMT movement with a 24-hour bezel. Although these modern versions are different to the originals, they still share the same design and DNA found in those original military-issued watches. But it's fair to say that no matter which version of the Airman you go for, you're getting a seriously cool pilot's watch that is dripping in history. Now, you might think that getting a watch on your wrist that is made from carbon is exclusively reserved for high-end watch collectors. But what if I told you that you can get a carbon watch for only around $200? When I think of carbon watches, my mind instantly shoots to the likes of the Zenith Defy that costs multiple thousands. However, it is entirely possible to get the carbon experience on a much tighter budget. Allow me to introduce you to the D1 Milano Carbon Light. This is a watch made entirely from different carbon composites that emulate the look of expensive luxury watches. This piece comes with a genuine carbon fiber dial and carbon nylon case. Sure, you aren't getting a fully fledged forged carbon case here, but you certainly get the look and feel of a carbon watch for a fraction of the price. The rest of the watch is fairly basic, with its mineral crystal and Miyota quartz movement, but it's the stealthy look that makes this one effortlessly cool. The back of this piece features one of the most unique spec sheets on a watch, with the Milano Carbon Light flexing its super tough capabilities. This next watch will undoubtedly divide opinion amongst everyone watching. However, if it's cool enough for the king of rock and roll, it's cool enough for us. When I say Hamilton, most of you will instantly think of tough and rugged military watches. However, Hamilton has some other iconic watches that don't get the attention they deserve. One watch I never see inside enthusiast collections is the Hamilton Ventura. Now, I understand that this piece features a super weird case shape that sends anyone with OCD into an internal meltdown. But just for a second, let's appreciate what's going on here. This piece features one of the coolest and most rock and roll designs that can be found on a watch. This piece doesn't care about your NATO strap, it doesn't care about your ceramic bezel, hell, it doesn't even care about an automatic movement. Throw on your leather jacket, slick back your hair and strap on your Hamilton Ventura and hit the town. That's exactly what the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, did. Nothing is cooler than not caring about anyone's opinion and wearing something completely unique that looks like nothing else. And the Hamilton Ventura certainly does that. Nothing is cooler than sliding on your sunglasses, rocking your Hawaiian shirt while sipping a beer by a beachside bar. And that's why this next watch is effortlessly cool. Usually, things that are boring can also be cool. Typically, the more eccentric and flamboyant something is, the cooler it is too. That's why British watchmaker Mr. Jones is creating some of the coolest watches at the moment. Mr. Jones hand makes and assembles these watches in London, England, where a team of watchmakers brings genuine artistic designs to life. And these watches don't follow traditions. They don't try to be one specific type of watch. They very much operate in their own field by creating something completely unique. Earlier this year, I reviewed the Mr. Jones Meredizo, a watch that screams fun and is perfect for a hot summer day and a glass of sangria. This piece ditches the idea of traditional time telling and instead opts for a jump hour mechanism that displays the hour in a small cutout and uses the tip of the whale's face as the minute hand. If this style isn't to your taste, fear not, Mr. Jones has a catalogue full of weird and wacky designs that are effortlessly cool. Now, this next watch is by a brand that creates watches following one very strict rule, and although it makes time telling much harder in concept, but it is also much cooler. German watch brand Meistersinger exclusively creates watches that feature only one hand. Now you might think that reading the time would be a challenge, but of course, being a German watchmaker, Meistersinger takes the Bauhaus approach to their designs, meaning that everything on the dial is there to solely help with time telling and nothing else, meaning that in actuality, these watches are sometimes even easier to read than most contemporary watches. Sure, you don't get a second hand ticking around the dial, but who cares? This watch is about simplicity. It's about appreciating how easy things can actually be. Sure, day-date complications are cool, chronographs can be useful, but all you need is one hand to get where you need to be on time. And there's just something so effortlessly cool about not giving a damn about useless information and focusing on what matters. Is it 6 PM yet? Because I'd love a pint of beer. Now this next watch has been going somewhat viral recently because it tells time in such a unique way that no other watch on the planet can compete with. Allow me to introduce you to the Clock 2. If you haven't already seen this watch flying around the internet, then you're in for a treat. This watch displays the time like nothing else. This piece features a flat screen-like dial, which is filled with letters that take turns illuminating to display the time in words alone. The idea behind this watch is simple. Everyone in life is in a rush. We have places to be and people to see. So let's make the process of time telling as easy as possible. And there is simply nothing easier than your wristwatch spelling out the time to you in plain old English. However, this watch comes in 20 different languages, so fear not if English isn't your native tongue. Usually, watches in this style would be huge on the wrist. However, you can pick up these little hidden gems in case sizes that will fit any size wrist. This piece even features a seconds mode where it uses the letters to shape out the number. Non-watch enthusiasts think that the Apple Watch is the coolest watch on the planet, and they think that it's some sort of luxury item. So this next watch is the ultimate troll to those types of people. I'm sure many of you, like me, despise the Apple Watch. After all, it's one of the biggest threats to traditional watchmaking to ever exist. So I think it's rather comical that micro-brand Atowak has gone to the effort to troll Apple with this watch. This is the Atowak Windows Pro, a watch that very much resembles the Apple Watch but follows the values of traditional watchmaking. The dial of this piece looks like a screen, with its wacky colours and lack of time-telling hands. Instead, the watch uses a series of discs to tell the time. The centre of the watch features a running seconds disc, the lower features a minute scale, and the top features a linear hour cutout. This piece is actually inspired by vintage radios, where you would turn a knob across a scale to find the station that you want. But it's the concept of this watch that is super cool, because this is very much a non-traditional looking watch, using a traditional mechanical movement that resembles the heartless Apple Watch. If you are somebody that appreciates an all-black watch, then this next one will unquestionably get you hot and sweaty. The all-black stealth aesthetic is certainly an acquired taste, but for those of you who have the palate, check out this watch from micro-brand Boulder. This is the Safari Vogelkopf Superb, a watch that follows the stealthy aesthetic to a whole new level. This piece not only features an all-black case and bracelet, but a black dial, black bezel, and even black hands too. For those of you who value legibility, please look away, because reading the time at a glance is near impossible. But what this watch lacks in its ability for swift timekeeping, it certainly makes up for in effortless style. I imagine the wearer of this watch doesn't care about politics, doesn't care about how much energy prices have gone up. The wearer of this watch is cooler than an ice cube in the middle of a snowstorm. After all, wearing this watch with anything but an all-black outfit would be a crime. This piece by Boulder is the most stealthy watch that I've came across, so if that's your thing, go and feast. Now, to some of you out there, space exploration will be the coolest thing that you can possibly think of. So here's a watch that is inspired by the vast cosmos above us. It's pretty hard for a watch to emulate the look of the universe, but somehow this watch by Zurich gives you the feeling of exploring space while sat on your sofa drinking a cup of coffee. Yes, to some, this watch is pure insanity, but to others, I'm sure it gets you more excited than Christmas morning. This is the Zurich Trappist 1, a watch heavily inspired in design by the universe around us. And rather fittingly, this watch is a collaboration with NASA and even features the NASA logo right on the dial. For me, this watch looks like we're peering out of a spaceship window into the pure endlessness of space, but the wow factor of this watch happens when the lights go out, because the lume experience is out of this world, having the appearance of the darkest night sky combined with the brightest stars. For all its craziness, however, this is a normal three-handed watch, although I wish you good luck reading the time at a glance. The Omega Speedmaster is one of the most loved and popular watches in the world, but there's one particular model that I feel is a hidden gem and effortlessly cool. We all know the Speedmaster today for being the moon watch, the watch that has left our planet and touched the rocky surface that we occasionally look at on a clear night. However, the Speedmaster was never intended to be the moon watch. Instead, it was actually designed to be a sports racing watch. So this version of the Speedmaster really doubles down on the original intention behind the Speedmaster model, and it just so happens that this is one of the most affordable Speedmasters that you can buy. This is the Omega Speedmaster Schumacher, a version of the Speedmaster that really leans into its sporty roots. This watch was released in 1996 in celebration of one of the best F1 drivers of all time, Michael Schumacher. Some will recognise this version of the Speedmaster as the reduced, meaning that this piece comes in with a smaller 39mm case and an automatic modular movement, and for around £2,000 you get an effortlessly cool Speedmaster model that represents the original purpose of the watch. If you want to get a cool watch and support the channel at the same time, then check out toptierticker.com for some affordable watches. The link is in the description. And if you liked this video and want some more hidden gem content, then watch my video here on 10 hidden gem watches that you should know about.